This is God's Prophecy and his girlfriend coming back at you with the Oreo podcast. Anyways,
we named this the Oreo podcast because y'all don't know, but I am black.
I'm apparently white.
She's half white, but she passes as a white person. And we made this podcast because we love talking.
Too much,
and we have these awesome conversations that no one hears but us. Sometimes we argue a lot, so bear with us if we do. And today we're going to talk about relationships.
And how relationships can be very hard. And we're here to tell you key importances like communication.
Alright, so a little bit about ourselves. Our relationships, we started dating in like March of 2018.
Yeah.
Right? How was that for you?
I like our relationship. It was very rough in the beginning. I still liked a guy, and he was with another girl at the time when we were seeing each other. He almost got stabbed.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was with also a girl that I broke up with her. And they just know your first name.
Nah, I can edit it.
You want to edit it out? All right, she'll edit that out. You'll never hear this conversation. But yeah, basically, I broke up with her for waifu here, and she put out a knife on me. That's a different story for a different time.
Yeah. But we have had rough edges for the almost 3 years that we've been together, but we've made it work, and we're here to talk about what makes a relationship work.
Yep, so... Yeah, so... Okay, so one of our first topics here. Sorry, I was just looking. We're beginners, so bear with us. Should you post your significant other on social media? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is if you post on a regular basis and it's not going to be weird, just put a random girl on your social media or a random guy on your social media, then you should post your girlfriend on your social media. If you make regular posts, or if you make posts like on Snapchat, I think it's acceptable. If you don't post regularly on Snapchat, because it doesn't stay there for a long time. On Instagram, unless you post like every other week, then I don't think it's necessary unless you're together with her for more than a month. It depends on how much you post on social media, in my opinion. If you don't post that much, you don't have to have your girlfriend or boyfriend on your social media.
Can I interject here?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying is, I want to say this. So let's say I post a lot, right? Beforehand, like I post my face, I post my dogs, places I go to, right?
Yeah.
And I enter a relationship, and I decide to not post you. That's wrong in your opinion?
I do believe it's wrong. It makes me feel like you don't think of me as highly as your pets or yourself, and you don't want others to know about me.
And you're also saying if I never post and I don't post you, then that's okay.
Yeah, because it's not like you would be going out of your way then to post me, and that's just my insecurity at that point.
Okay.
Unless you really like me and you want to post, and that if you do post me, then I think that's an amazing thing, but I don't think you should have to post someone if you don't post on a regular basis.
I see.
Yeah.
For me, I don't really care if, my girl posts me or not posts me. As long as in real life we're good, I'm fine.
Yeah, and I totally get that. Because it's like, nobody really needs to know. But at the same time, as a girl, we think differently. We want people to know about us. So if you do post, they should know.
What do you think? All right, so for like our parents' generation, what was it before then?
They wouldn't
have cared?
They were in high school, so it would gossip. It would be gossip.
It would be like around. Other people talking about them and their relationship? Yes. Okay.
But now with social media and like you don't always date someone from your school, from your high school. You don't date someone from your town.
Not even the state.
Times, our state.
It's crazy.
Like we have traveled so much. You might not even be dating someone. A lot of people date long distance online, so they don't even know they haven't met their boyfriend yet, or if they have, they haven't met them in real life. Stuff like that. So in a relationship, if you're together, I think you should post at least that you're in a relationship if you post often.
Yeah, and for our relationship, we don't typically post things of each other, and if we do, it's like
It's
a
significant.
birthday or Valentine's Day or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we kind of grew out of that stage too, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I also think it's considered like if you're in your 30s or older, like
That's
you don't
weird.
have to do it.
Yeah.
But when you're younger than your 30s,
I would
it's
say
more of like you might have to.
I find it funny that in today's society, like for a relationship to be like official, you have
It's
to be
on-
posted on Instagram or like Facebook.
mainly.
Well, it used to be Facebook, but now it's Instagram. Well, cause
Oh, really?
yeah, it's Instagram
Oh,
now.
I
Like,
guess I don't use Instagram
because
that often.
the only people who use Facebook are old people. Like,
No.
young people don't use it. Because if you post it on Instagram, then other girls see it,
That's
and then they'll be
true.
like, "Oh, he's taken, so I'm not gonna talk to him anymore." That's why a lot of dudes don't post on Instagram. A lot of girls don't post their guy on Instagram because they like to keep options.
Oh.
I find that fucked up, but it's whatever. I got my girl. I'm not out here.
I do think that's messed up. I don't think social media should verify that you're dating.
You're dating?
And that you're with someone and that it's serious. I don't think it's that serious, but I do think if you post a lot, you should post your significant other to show
Yeah.
that they're
I see your
high
point. It's
standards.
it's
yeah.
crazy. Like if I can post my dog every day, I should post you. at
Yeah,
least
that's
once.
my opinion about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Our next segment is, should a relationship be equal? Okay. Well, let me go over what
Okay.
that means. Okay, so an equal relationship. So, for example, if we both have money, we talk about what we're gonna do with that money together. As in the opposite would be like, as a man, I'm in charge of the money, and for the woman, she's in charge of taking care of the kids and cleaning the house. And like paying for things is for the man's job. What do you think?
I think every relationship is different.
Okay.
And
What
that-
about our relationship?
I believe our relationship, we are equal.
I believe that too.
Well, first off, we don't have a house together. This could change down the line because we don't. Technically, we have no bills together. We technically live together, but we have separate rooms. We don't have to see each other if we don't want to. So it's very different than other couples that do live together and are in the same.
I'm not in charge of your money.
Yeah, like we don't have to explain our expenses to each other yet until we form bills together. I feel like we won't know the economic things on us.
Do you think it's like the man's job to elevate our social status?
No.
Okay.
In this day and age, I believe it's both the man and the woman's job to elevate.
Or
If the woman's
elevate themselves.
Yeah, to elevate themselves. I'm not going to be like, we don't have enough money, you need to work more. If I want more money, I should have to work for that. Because I know a lot of women or men who complain that their significant other doesn't make enough money. Well, you have 2 legs, you have 2 arms, go out there and work.
I agree with this statement.
If you can work and you don't have a disability and you can find a job and you want money, then you need to go to work and get your own money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think if we were to buy a house together or even
We
get
would
an
come
apartment together,
and talk about it.
we would.
You'd be like, no. Man, what?
But before we buy any place together, we would talk about it and be like, is this the best place to live for us? And that all comes down to, like, what we personally think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think buying a car, some people think it's up to if you buy a car for yourself, should it only be up to you or should it be up to me as well, since you're paying it with your own money? Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Also, I just want to say, I'm not knocking down any relationships where you like that type of stuff. Because, there's a lot of people out here that, like, a lot of girls, like, they want a man to just provide and take care of them. And some men are okay with doing that role of doing everything.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think if it works for them, that's good. But I also want to say, don't complain if your man has to work 3 jobs and you only take care of the kids and he's never there to help you take care of the kids. Because how is he supposed to work? How is he supposed to obtain that money without working? If your man works, he needs to work. He needs to earn that money. Whether it's an hourly pay or a very high job, it doesn't matter. So you can't complain if he's never at home.
Yeah.
So that's my personal take on it.
Yeah, don't bring a lot of shit to him too, because if he's working, I understand that taking care of kids is a hard job, but once they reach kindergarten, you don't really see them the whole day.
8 hours,
yeah. So you're doing pretty much nothing in the meantime, unless you clean. But there's almost so much you could do if you clean every day.
Yeah.
I mean, you could cook, but, cooking doesn't take that much, like, at most 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, it's like, and men out there, don't abuse your women, too.
Yeah, if your woman cooks for you, even if it's not the best food, you're the one who doesn't cook, so
exactly. Don't complain that it tastes nasty, or, like, I mean, if it's garbage, I guess you have to say something, but if it's decent, like, don't be a bitch about it, basically.
Yeah, if she accidentally burns the food, then don't yell at her, like... She's trying.
Yeah.
But then again, pay for her credit to get a cooking class or something, maybe.
Or buy a pizza.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Like, pay for her cooking class if you're that worried about it.
Some women won't take the cooking class, though. Because they'd be like, I can cook.
That's true, but...
Because we did that with my stepmom.
Honestly, if you think
we bought her a cookbook.
Honestly, I would love for someone to buy me a cooking class.
Would you?
Yeah, because, I mean, like, they're expensive.
Are they, for real?
I would think so. I don't know. I've
probably
never
for,
looked
like,
into it.
a month cooking class.
Yeah. But I would definitely want to do it at one point just to know different things to cook. And, like, sometimes you do learn interesting things and you bring a new plate home that you would have never known about unless you took the class. But I think equality is very good in a relationship, and here's my one reason. If you work and you die, your husband doesn't have a job or didn't have a job for a long time, it's going to be hard for him to get a job out there, especially nowadays, because he's not going to know any skills, he's not going to have any education behind him, or if you don't have a job and your husband dies, you're not going to have any skills, you're not going to have any education, and now you're in a place where am I going to get this money? And that's the one reason, like, that I believe is very bad. Also, if someone controls all the money, they pretty much control what you do, where you live, where you go, what you do with your life, what you want, how much money you get. I personally don't like that control. Yeah. I don't want someone to have that much control over my life.
Yeah.
And these relationships do turn abusive. Because 90% of relationship abuse that I've ever heard of is where a man works and the woman stays at home. I've never heard any relationship where they're equal and then it becomes abusive. I mean, it could.
Well, it could, but usually I would say if you want to get married to a man, make sure that you have autonomy, like you have your own income. So when you have to leave, it's not like a problem for you.
Yeah, because the number one problem when someone does become an abusive situation, they don't have the money to leave.
Yeah. They
so
have nowhere to
having
go.
money to leave is very good.
Also, you can't live without the person if they control every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Stockholm
syndrome. And if they don't have a car, they can't leave. Because a lot of times you don't have a car because why would you need a car if you don't go anywhere? Yeah.
So, yeah, women out there, make sure you have autonomy because, you want to be able to leave if you want to.
Yeah.
We also have something here I know this is a weird thing, but a girlfriend, like when your girlfriend says you can't hang out with your friends.
Okay, so here's a couple things. If you hang out with your friends every weekend, let's say, I think it's not wrong for me to be like, I want to hang out this one weekend, especially if you planned it ahead of time. But a lot of times when I see in shows, especially,
it's spur of the moment.
It's spur of the moment. They want to hang out with their friends. They haven't seen them in a while, and their girlfriend's like, no, you can't hang out with your buddies.
I hear you, but sometimes with guys, it really be spur of the moment, and I do understand that you would like, a couple hours or a day in advance to know that I won't be here. But what would you say to somebody like me who would say that, like, sometimes the guys, we're like in a PlayStation party, and we're just like, oh, we should just do this right now.
Well, my thing is like, let's say we're all in the same state, because unfortunately we don't live with your friends in the same state, but say if we were all in the same state and it happens one weekend and you're like, oh, we're all free, let's hang out, let's do something. It does suck that I wouldn't know in advance, and I might be upset about that, but to me, I'd be like, you haven't seen your friends in a while, and I want you to go have fun. And I think it should also be like, if like I ask to hang out and you'd be like, oh, you won't have fun, which I wouldn't, and I'd be like, that's true.
But what you're also saying is like, you can do that, but just don't do it often.
I think if you do it every weekend, it's going to become a problem because, like, especially if you work every day or go to school every day, the weekend is for me and you to hang out. And if you hang out with your friends every single weekend, every day on the weekend, when are we ever supposed to see each other?
Yeah.
Luckily, you don't have that problem, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. My thing is more of, like, when... it's spontaneous, though, and I see in tropes and TV shows are like, oh, you wouldn't let me hang out with my friends. And I find that very toxic, and a very toxic thing that guys don't think girls want you to hang out with their friends, with your friends. Because I personally believe that you should hang out with your friends when you want to. And as long as you tell me, I think we should be good. Like, even if it's spur of the moment, you're still going to have to decide where you want to go. And, like, as soon as you decide, like, oh, we're hanging out, you should tell me, I'm thinking me and my friends are going to hang out tonight. We're not sure where or when. And just so I know, like, what your plans are.
Yeah. But
I think it's very toxic for girls, especially because I don't see a lot of guys really being mad when a girl is like, oh, it's girls' night.
A guy really doesn't care because, when you go out with your friends, I'm playing video games.
Yeah.
It's different for girls because when a guy leaves, it's kind of like the girl really has nothing to do.
And I think girls need to figure out, like, there's plenty of things for you to do, like, without your man. You can play games if you want. You can watch TV.
Play sports.
You can play sports. You can go and make plans with your girlfriends.
Cook. Yeah. Something.
You can go and, like, get your nails and hair done if you want. And there's plenty of other things that girls can do without their man around. And I think, like, that's what a lot of tropes say. Like, it is always, like, the mom who stays at home that has this trope. And if she didn't, like, if she had other hobbies than staying home, I don't think she would be that upset. So I do think, like, guys should, like, I think a guy should help their girlfriend come up with a hobby outside of their boyfriend.
Why is it my responsibility?
I don't think it's your responsibility, but I think, like, especially, like, my generation, like, girls are supposed to be quiet. Girls aren't supposed to do certain things. They're only supposed to, like, do things when their parents say to. It's
really?
More, yeah.
I disagree with that with the American side. I feel like with the feminist movement,
I think now it's different. I think it's turning now. But when I was growing up, it wasn't like that. And not until I was in middle school or high school. You weren't really encouraged to do anything, is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
then, I agree with you.
I'm not saying it's the boyfriend's job, but I think it should be, or your responsibility, but I think it's something like, we need to help girls and become like, be like, you can do other hobbies.
I was coming off a little bit too strong. Responsibility is like, you're saying, just give me a little help. That's it.
Or like
give me inspiration.
Like, or ask me what I want to do, or
be a good partner, basically.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it's your responsibility to be like, oh, you should do like this type of thing
but
all the time.
You would want me to help you.
Yeah, like if you wanted a new, like if I went out for a girls' night, even though you do have games, like you can be like, oh, what am I gonna do without you? I could be like, oh, you can play games or do your homework.
Give me options.
Yeah, or like if you really want to come, you can come. But why would you want to come and hang out with my friends,
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I think guys should invite their girlfriends, not every time they go out to hang out with their boyfriends, but when you hang out with your friends, I do think you should ask your, like, every third time you hang out with your friends to be like, hey, do you want to come out and hang out with me and my friends? Even as a small gesture, because most girls are going to be like, nah, I'm good. But they want that security of you wanting them to be near you. Like, you want them there. Even if you don't really. It's just that, like, that you re-secure our knowledge of you wanting us around.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next topic will be long distance. Do you want to do long distance?
Sure.
Okay, so long distance, in my opinion, if your relationship is based off long distance, like you met online, I highly think you should not go with that relationship. Like, I really think long term does not work. I know in some cases it does, but usually in the long run it doesn't work out unless you meet each other and decide to live together sooner or later. But if it's just in the background, like, it's not gonna last long. What do you think?
I totally 100% agree with
Okay.
you. Long distance, one huge thing, at least to me, that's bad is you don't see them. And, like, often you can forget about someone that you don't physically see, even if
Yep.
it's through online. So I think cheating can occur way
Also,
more on long distance than in person.
Your feelings dissipate
Yeah.
when you don't see the person, because it's like out of sight, out of mind. Like, you're not in my mind anymore. I know that sounds bad, but, like, I'm not thinking about you if I don't see you.
That's so true.
And, like, I'm doing other things, and, like, I will start to forget to text you. There's gonna be new people entering my life that's literally in my life. Like, I see them, I touch them every day, and I'm gonna talk to those people. I'm not gonna talk to you. But it's different if, like, for example, for us, we met in college, and our long distance was like the summertime, winter break, but we always ended up like seeing each other. That's when it works. But if your whole relationship is based on it, nah, B.
I think if you're in a long distance relationship, you guys need to have a schedule. Like me and him, we would be like, let's call each other every
night,
time at
yeah.
night before we went into
So we
bed.
have something to talk about.
Yeah, but we didn't. Sometimes we didn't follow through every single night, but it would be like 90% of the time we would.
Yeah.
So I think it's like you need to come up with a schedule and say it's different time zones, so you have to come up with a really good schedule at that time. So long distance can work maybe for a short amount of time if you're doing that, but at the end of the day, you still want to see that person, you still want to physically touch that person. So eventually, I do think you need to move to a shorter distance somehow.
Yeah.
Even if they don't move in with you, but move to your town, so that way you can get to know each other to see if it's really worth going forward. And that's the hardest part about long distance is when you meet them in person, you might not have the same chemistry as you did online. And that's very hard to determine whether or not making that kind of move is worth that. So it's very hard.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you, man. Alright, moving on from that one. That one was quick because we
Yeah.
both agreed. We didn't really bark at each other.
Yeah.
But we did this test, right? It's called the 5 love language test. And the 5 love languages are acts of service, receiving gifts, physical touch, words of affirmation, and quality time. So before we took the test, we guessed what would our love language be. I guess acts of service.
I guess quality time, and I guessed touching.
And touching, okay. So my results was acts of service. I'll go over the reason why I knew it was acts of service, because I like when people do things for me out of like their heart. Like, for example, like if I was having trouble with homework or whatever, they will help me. Or if I had trouble getting a ride to the airport, you got me. Or like I'm hungry and you just got me a snack or whatever. Like, I love things like that. I know that might sound weird to some people, but that's where I feel the love the most is with your actions.
I agree.
What about you? What did you get? I mean,
I got quality time, and the reason why I thought I would get this is because I love spending time with my significant other, even if we don't end up doing anything. But I like if we both, even if I don't like his activities, I want to try out his activities and what he likes. And I want him to try out what I like, so that way we can at least understand what we like and what we do, and we can talk about it to each other. And I like watching TV shows together. I love when we just spend time together and it's just me and him, and we're just cuddling on the bed. And that's my favorite time of the day, is when we're just sitting there laying down, staring at each other, and he's just holding me.
that sounds way better than mine's, but you're more of a romantic person.
That is very romantic of me to say like that.
Yeah, that was
like
very
that.
romantic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also, the two things, actually, I tied. The next thing that I got was physical touch, was 23%.
I can agree with you.
Yeah.
Do like physical touch.
Yes, and you do too.
I do too. I've got physical. No, I didn't. I got words of affirmation. I like when people say like, "I'm proud of you," because I never really heard that growing up. I've never really heard like positive affirmations. So when someone says it to me, I'm surprised. And I love that.
Yeah, I
like quality time for sure.
Yeah, that was his next two. My next two was also words of mine was physical touch, and then at 23%, and the next two were actually tied of acts of service and words of affirmation, which was 20%. The weird thing was quality time was 30%, and my lowest one was receiving gifts at 7%.
Me too. Mine's receiving gifts. I mean, like, receiving a gift is okay, but sometimes it can be very, like, shallow. Like, just because you buy someone a Gucci watch doesn't mean that you really love them.
Yeah. I think, like, my favorite type of gifts is the ones that are most thought about. Like, you put in the time and that effort to actually buy something that I would personally like.
Like buying you cooking classes. Like, I think that's
low on my list. Don't give me that first, please.
What would it be though? What gifts do you like?
I'm not a big gift person, I would say.
All right, so yeah, no gifts for this woman.
I'm very low. You don't have to really get me anything for me to be happy.
What do you think about mine though?
Yours is actually, I would say, what surprised me was acts of service was weird because I don't do that much for you. Like. Now, hear me out. Like, I do help you out with homework. I'm not gonna lie, I don't do much for him. Like, of course, if he asks me to do something, I will. But I never have gone out of my way to help you with something.
You haven't.
Yeah. So
sometimes you do, though.
So it's very weird that you have acts of service and you're with me who has never done anything without you personally asking for me to do it.
Well, that's why I asked you to do them, because I greatly appreciated that you at least attempt it. So that's good enough for me. I don't really get mad that you don't do anything, but if I ask and you do it, that makes me happy.
But now that I know, I can use this knowledge to show you that I love you more.
But yesterday, how I just washed your sheets. Like, that's how I show my love. I love to do things for people, and that's how I show my love. That was
so nice of you.
Yeah, I texted her, right? I was like, oh, I washed your sheets while you were gone. She was like, why? And I'm like, I just thought it would be nice. She thought I just like messed up her sheets or something.
No, I thought it was because of a different reason. I thought maybe I had. Yeah.
No, I just did it because I was like, she's at work. Let me just do this fresh sheets when she comes home.
That was very nice. I like that a lot. I like that you did that without me asking. And now that I know, I can do things for you without you asking. I never really thought about that before. Because when I think of, should I do this? I'm more like, what if he wants it done a certain way and I mess it up and I don't want to do something and then mess up. Yeah. So it's very anxiety for me to do an act of service, because I'm like, what if he doesn't like it? What if he wanted to do it a certain way? What if he didn't want it done right now? What if he already washed his sheets and they're perfectly clean? Now he's gonna get mad that I used electricity.
Yeah, my second lowest was physical touch.
That was actually surprising.
That's surprising, but I can see that.
Especially since how much you love me when I slap your booty.
Alright, I don't think I love it, but I don't mind it. You're the only person where I tolerate it. But
that's true.
For physical touch, like, personally, I only like you touching me. Anybody else, I don't really like being touched.
I can understand physical touch because it can be weird when you're physically touched by someone you don't like.
Yeah, like, I like you, but anybody else, I don't really like it.
I was actually surprised that besides quality time, my second most was physical touch.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because even though I knew physical touch would be very high, I thought maybe words of affirmation would be higher.
Nah, I think you like physical touch more.
Yeah. But I would say I do words of affirmation to you a lot. I always call you handsome and cute and beautiful, and I'm always like, you're so smart. So, and whenever you do something, like when you finish your homework, I always tell you I'm proud of you and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely do words of affirmation more for you than anything.
I also want to say this. Now we talk about the love languages stuff. Try to find someone that complements your love language. Like, if you like receiving gifts, date a person that loves giving gifts.
Oh, yeah.
Because
definitely.
if you're a person that wants gifts and you're like, why isn't my... Because I've seen, like, on social media, like, why is my boyfriend buying me a Birkin bag? It's like... Alright, that's a bad example because Birkin bags are expensive. But, like, for example, like, alright, a car. Some girls be like, why doesn't my man buy me a new car? And it's like, why? Like, I don't give gifts like that. Is me, like, providing for you enough? Like...
Honestly, I would love if someone bought me a car, only for the fact of I don't have to go to the dealership and waste my time and buy myself a car, and then I can just give you the money.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to do the actual thing, and I can just give that person the money. It's not the actual gift that they're giving me, it's the gift of not going and doing it myself.
Yeah. Like, I guess with the receiving gifts, though, like, for the low quality gifts, like, some girls are like, you're like this a little bit, but you don't ask for it. Like, let's say if I go to the store and I bring you back an ice cream.
I
like,
love
that's
when you do that.
Yeah, like, see, that is like, if you're not with a guy that thinks like that, like, I was taught that. My grandfather always told me, if you go somewhere, always pick up something from your girl, because if you come back with nothing, there's a problem.
I think your grandfather has very high intelligence for that, because that is true. Even if I don't want anything, and I say I don't want something, I want something. I lied. You should know what I want.
Yeah, especially when you get food. Like, if she says she's not hungry, she's hungry, bro. Like, she just doesn't want to seem fat. In all honesty, I know that doesn't sound fair for the men out there, but life isn't fair.
That's so true. Life isn't fair. But I think another thing is like, when you're a girl, if you take a girl on a date and you say you're not hungry or you don't buy a lot of food, she's going to instantly either not want to buy food or buy very little food. So don't pig out, but like get a nice sized meal on your date. Like something that's not overly big, but something that's in a medium range. And if you do get something
big, give her some.
Yeah. Be like, oh, I wanted us to share this.
Yeah, because then she won't feel like, she's a pig.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of girls like. A lot of girls don't want to feel fat on their first date, especially on the first couple dates. They don't want to seem
especially
like they're
getting to know you, yeah.
Yeah. But once they're, like, in a month or two, once they get to know you, that's all going to just feed, and they're going to eat every single thing they see on the plate.
I know we are ending right here, but I wanted to say something when you said that.
Yeah.
What do you think about, in the beginning stages of dating, like, people faking their true personalities?
I don't think I personally faked my true personality.
I've definitely done it, though.
But I think, like...
I haven't done it with you, but I did it with the other girl.
I think we all do something to get accepted. Okay. And once we're accepted by that person, we try to, like...
be ourselves.
Yes. But I do think there's a stretch to it. If you lie about the kind of music you like, for example.
Yeah...
I never lied about the kind of music I
kind of be like, Oh, I've heard them, but I really haven't.
Like, when I was listening to your songs, you were like, oh, you know these because I was rocking out to them. And I was like, no, I never heard them before.
You were honest,
Yeah.
yeah. Most
And-
people would be like, oh, I know a little bit or something.
Yeah.
But you were honest.
I was honest because I'm like, if he asked me any questions, I'm not going to know any answers to the questions. And I think lying, it just forms a snowball effect.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't add any value.
to
in
be
the long
fair,
run.
I lied to him once
Did
about
you?
his hair. He did his hair a certain way, and he was like, I thought he personally liked it, and I was like, even if I don't like it and I don't think he looks good in it, I want him to like the fact that he likes his hair. Because at the end of the day, the only person who matters about you liking your hair is yourself. And and I kind of lied because I was like, I don't want him to feel bad about me not liking it. But he got over that.
Oh, yeah, I got over it. But always tell the truth.
Yeah.
If you honestly don't like it, say that you don't like it. Because I hear you when, if the person likes it, they like it. But honestly, in all honesty, when I get a haircut or whatever, or if I get new clothes, the only opinion I care about is your opinion.
That's true.
And I don't know if that's the same with you, but
I mean,
I feel that way. Like, if you say, I'm not rocking with it, I will not rock with it.
that's true.
Because you're the only person I care about that.
If I really, really like an outfit or really like a haircut, not so much because I'm not really big into hair anyways, but an outfit. If I really like an outfit and you don't like it, I might buy it anyways. But I think that's only if you're really strongly opinionated about something. If you just are like,
I'm on the fence.
Yeah, then I totally 100% agree. If I'm on the fence about something, I would just not get it if you didn't like it personally because I don't like it that much. You don't like it that much. What's the point?
Yeah.
But I didn't. But I've learned from that, and I've never done it since. So, I think, in conclusion, I think communication is probably number one key.
Communication is key.
And trying to figure out, because everybody communicates differently. I communicate very differently from God's prophecy.
That was an ugly laugh. Like, for example, like in the beginning of our relationship, anytime we argued, she would yell. And in my family, we never yell. And then she told me, like, the longer we've been in a relationship, she told me the reason why she yells when she argues is because that's how she grew up. And then, like, little things like that, like, like, try to get to know your partner and how they communicate and make it a little bit more toxic. And, like, try to just understand them. And, like, if they're upset at you, don't try to fix it. Just listen to them. That's really just all that they want is for you to listen.
Yeah, and then maybe fix it later down the road.
Fix it with your actions.
Yeah.
Don't say you're gonna fix it with your actions.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you on that one. I've learned, I still yell when we argue.
But you do it a lot
but
less.
I do it a lot less. And after we argue, I think about everything that we say to each other. Even before all this, like when we first started dating, I think about everything and I try and process it in my own personal way and try to figure out what can I do better for the next argument. No, not for that, but for the next time when we argue.
Yeah.
So that way we can better communicate. And this is for everybody. Like, even if you guys communicate well, always try and communicate better. Like,
yeah, because once we think that we're good, as soon as that argument comes up, sometimes you just get too tight.
Yeah. And if you ever get in an argument where you're both yelling and shouting, sometimes it's just good to clear both of your heads and, like, come back.
Yeah, like, leave, come back,
And then try to discuss it, like,
later,
without
it's a
arguing.
lot better.
Yeah.
It's a lot better if you leave and come back.
Yeah, and then try and discuss it without arguing, without getting heated again, and just try to formally, like, discuss what is so upsetting.
Because what I've learned, when you walk away and come back, you really think about, like, what were we arguing about in the first place?
Yeah, and a lot of times when you argue, it's not even that important.
Yeah, like it would make sense, like, if one of us wanted kids or wanted an abortion or like if we wanted to move somewhere, like that's when getting heated is real.
Yeah.
Like, because that ends a relationship.
Yes, but most of the time when our couples argue, it's over stupid things.
Yeah.
So
who left the card somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I remember the gas station where I couldn't find my debit card, or it was your Coastal card, and it was in my wallet the entire time, and you were just like, no, it's not in your wallet or something, and we were just arguing, and we were trying to go to a festival, and we were just tight the first like 20 minutes of the festival, and then we calmed down.
Oh yeah.
And then after the festival, I went to the gas station. I was like, oh, it's been in my wallet the entire time. And then you were just like, forget about it. I don't want to hear that you were right or something. That shit is funny. But, yeah.
And I also want to say, like, whatever you decide, you and your partner need to decide what's best for you. Just because our things work doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Yeah, just talk. And sometimes having an outside opinion might help you.
Yeah.
Like, think of it like if you're not in a relationship. Think of it if it's like your friend is talking to you. Because sometimes you just don't want to hear the right answer. But this is the end of our podcast.
That's the Oreo podcast for you.
I just want to say something. I love you guys. And if you really listen to this to the end, I appreciate you. And I know it's you, Joseph. I hope it's you. And you better comment to see if you listen to the whole podcast. All right. Peace.